everyone, welcome to my channel, Being Styled, where I usually always talk about, well, not always talk, a lot of video over music because I have kids and that can all be explained later. Right now I am talking, and today we are actually going to talk about not just pretty crowns. However, we are going to talk about a pageant system that I just took to small claims court and won. Now, I can't really say the pageant system as a whole. In particular, one person who says they own a business and pageant, whatever, and does not. So, let's begin. First off, for all the many women who know of the American Elegance pageant, I still have the crown. I still have my sash. In the first mediation that I took for this individual, right here, mediation number one was all about PayPal and how my money was locked up, how that all the money that you pay into this pageant is non-refundable. Well, when you rip up the contracts, that's not true. All money actually kind of is refundable in certain ways. I don't really know how to start about this besides the fact that there is no business as far as American Elegance pageant. No state has business license or organizations, LLC. The Illinois American Elegance, this national pageant, is supposedly gone on for 21 years. That's kind of hard to prove, as their social media and things don't have enough pictures to go back that far. And you would think by 21 years you would be able to find a business license and things like that. And then when coming to Nevada, the reason I knew about this pageant was because of another girl in Illinois who had done the Illinois one. My regret is not talking to her first, because after talking to her and learning about even another woman who feels like, you know, things were unfair, that she was kind of taken, hustled out of your money, there's obviously probably more of you. So really, this video is for you. If you've done the American Elegance pageant and you feel like they owe you money or you didn't understand something, I don't know, this might explain it. However, when I paid the $365 for this nationals, that fee I knew I wasn't supposed to pay. Something told me not to pay it. And so that is when I asked for another $100 that I had paid in for some optionals and nationals back. And that seemed to be some like big problem. They kicked me out of this Facebook group when I hadn't even said that I wasn't going yet. And that was like a red flag for me. That's when I also, I guess, we had our back and forth conversation, and the way that, you know, other pageant directors in the past, I've done my handful, for the most part, they're pretty willing to work with you and make sure that you get there and what you need. It wasn't like that. It was pretty much, I have your money, you don't get it back. If you don't want to go, that's your choice. I have other women that are willing to go. Well, okay then. And also on top of that conversation with me, the other girl lady who won also couldn't afford to go, which I would have helped her. I even told her that. I would have helped pay her, but we really weren't conversating at the time, as not as in that there was anything wrong. We just hadn't connected after we had both won the pageant so much yet. But the pageant director and her assistant come to my house, and pretty much everything that I was going to wear, whatever. Oh no, that's not good enough. Although I think at the end I was going to take it all anyway. And then you see also the pageant go on, and my dresses and outfits were not much different than the other girls that went on stage. So there's a lot of things I think about now that makes it seem like you were hustled out of your money. They didn't want you to go in the first place. So that's really odd. And so anyway, get back to the whole point of not going and asking for the money back. Everything went through PayPal. So know what I learned from PayPal as well is they are not a financial institution. They do not check to see if businesses have a business license. So if you go to a bank, as I've done business before, you have to have your federal tax ID number, show that you own a business, and then they open a bank account for you. PayPal doesn't work that way. You can open up an account, say you're so-and-so, and then change it to whatever business name you would like to create. And you can make it look like, you know, people are paying a business. That should definitely be stopped. That's really not cool. PayPal, in the sense of, you know, they allow that. And it's funny because after it all started, the name on PayPal was hers, of course. Names. And then after it all started going down, let's say, that's when it turned into that Black Queen Productions up here. So the fact that you know, at first I was paying her, and then, oh no, you're actually paying the company that the pageant runs under. So that's another thing. Neither one of those entities exist. The Western U.S. Nevada American Elegance pageant doesn't exist as a business legally, nor does, at the time at least, any Black Queen Productions that ran a pageant existed either. If that was the case, this whole court situation would probably still be going on. It'd probably be a whole different thing. It'd still be small claims, but in a different sense. And when you do go against a business, then you can get attorneys involved. When there's no business, there was no LLC, there's nothing, I knew that then, you know, this is just going to be me and her, a personal small claims case. And this is the pageant I'm talking about as far as the state one. And this is my contract. This is the one that I signed. There's nothing in this contract about any type of fee for nationals. Pretty much, if you win, you pay to go to nationals, you get yourself there, you pay for your hotel, and remember this, you pay for your hotel, and that was pretty much it. You enter, you win, and you commit to going to nationals. So I did. I got the hotel, I got my plane ticket, I got the hotel canceled, the plane ticket I lost out on as well. And again, to start off here with the contract, there's absolutely nothing that says that 365 or anything like that. And trust me, I've read it over 100 times. I was definitely ready for court to prove it. And so reading that and knowing that, you know, I paid for this crown, I paid for this sash, I paid to do the pageant, and during mediation, pretty much, unless you want to give me back all my money, which was like $800 and some dollars, I'm keeping this because that's so unfair to me. But at the first mediation, the girl that took the place to go to nationals, I guess, already paid for a new crown and sash, so she didn't have to worry about that. And she didn't have to pay for it either, so she's not out that money. The whole deal was holding $50 from me because that's how much she had to pay for a plane ticket for me to get to Chicago. So that wasn't fair to me. I would never agree to that as far as like, oh, you're going to take $50 off the $365, what you owe me, and I'm going to be okay with that. No, not at all. I was willing to give back the crown and the sash for the 365 at 1.2, but that came off the table. So not to like throw a whole bunch of details out there about the mediation and tidbits. The second mediation was absolutely horrible. As far as do I feel like she knew what she was doing and she hustled me, and oh yeah, 100%. I think they know exactly what they're doing to women. I know that I'm not the only one out there, and I know that me and a couple others, there's just got to be more. So when you get down to really what the small claims case was, there was $365 that I paid that was not listed anywhere, and so that became the question of why and where and why am I responsible for it, yet you have no answers for me, and nothing could be explained. And I went to school for a crime scene technology degree, which I have associates in applied science for that, and I have a bachelor's in criminology, which I first went to West Virginia University for the forensic investigations program, and I I switched majors and I went into criminology. So I have a bachelor's sociology anthropology from West Virginia. So you got to understand that at this point, my mind is just ticking, and all these things now are going wrong, and all these red flags are popping up, and I know this isn't right. So I go on to the Nevada Consumers Affairs, and I get a hold of them. I might have to block out my address here. A lot of people were like, yes, do the video. I had one person say, you know, maybe you shouldn't because you don't know what people will do. Well, here's the thing. Yes, I don't know what people will do, but as far as my physical well-being, I'm not worried. And people do need to know about this. If there's a pageant system out there that is not running correctly, not doing things, state taxes, federal taxes, all of that, how is that fair to me and you? It's not. And the fact that you're taking people's money, you're not paying any taxes on this, and it's going into your personal bank account, that really made me mad. My grandmother was a retired accountant, 30 plus years, whatever, and my uncle retired and did his career as a Federal IRS agent. You know, he'd like audit the mayor. So it was important, and it still is important to me as I start my business. As far as like the tumbling kids, that's a whole nother thing, that I do things properly, that I set it up properly, that we're all safe. And that's my problem with this, is that nobody is. So with Nevada, we got a hold of them. I got a hold of them. The Secretary of State, the business licensing, nobody could find any information on them. Without a business mailing address at the time for Nevada, because I didn't have her address, I do have it now. I had to have that, and I'll get to how I have all of that. That's coming up, to sue somebody. And now that you sue somebody and I win a judgment, yes, that goes against her credit, and you know, it's in public record or what have you. I won my judgment, but now I have to go, and there's a whole nother process of getting the money, which I'm going to do. Doesn't bother me, because at this point it's like, you don't get away with just stealing $400 from somebody. So anyway, to get the money after small claims case, just know that, you know, because I'm learning this process as well, that if you have to go through this with them or anybody else, win your judgment, and then you can go for the money after. So as far as business and Nevada Consumers Affairs, they couldn't help me because she's not a business. However, they did make contact, according to one letter, with Illinois, and I have all the emails from them that says, you know, they can't find U.S. American Elegance, Western U.S. American Elegance. They can't find the Black Queens Productions LLC. And that all, you know, comes from the Secretary of State's office and things like that, and the Nevada Consumers Affairs. And then so to get answers, I was trying to find the national director's name and reaching out to a couple other women who done the pageant. I was so astounded, and I want to kind of just slap myself too for not looking into it more and being able to find the national director's name. And so I had to really dig for that. I reached out to somebody that did the pageant. She didn't know the name either, and she did the Illinois one. So that kind of I guess you could just say another really big red flag. So I did some Google searching. I'm good at that. And I found a web page that had listed her name and address, phone number, and was questioning this pageant. So I was like, there are more women out there, and that website just makes me know that, you know, there definitely is more people that's probably been taken, especially even if it's been 10 years they've been doing this. So there's that. So I reached out to, let me cover some things up here. My address for one, and the investigator, because as far as I know, I got a hold of the Attorney General's office, the Illinois Consumer Protection Division. So here in Nevada, it's the Office of Director, Nevada Consumers Affairs. Illinois calls it Consumer Protection Division. So, you know, it depends on what state you're in. However, I went through the Attorney General there and everything, the Secretary of State, and they could not find American Elegance National Pageant, what have you. So then I had written one or two letters to the investigator. Well, one, I got one back, and then I know I found the name of her and whatnot, and so he, of course, sent out an email to her asking about my money and whatnot, and she responded. So the email that she responded was like gold for me. Number one, she specifies the contract, as she states, with Miss Black, and that she's an independent contractor, that the contract with me pretty much isn't with her, but technically this 365 is with her. It's supposed to be with this national pageant, but I really don't think, I don't even know if it really ended up to her or the national pageant. I don't know what Miss Black did with it. As far as my money, I don't know if it was in her personal bank account, if she really did send it to nationals. I'm thinking that she didn't send it to nationals. The whole caught up with PayPal deal was I spent 4 hours on the phone with PayPal and my Capital One. We were doing a three-way call, and they can't tell me much about her account, of course, because that's private, but it seems to be that there was all the money there and she pretty much drained her account, yet the transfers haven't went all the way through. So it seems that, yes, she does owe PayPal $365 to probably open up her account back, and at the end of the day, she still owes me $365. So there's that. There's so much to this. But when you go back to Illinois and you talk about the national director, she also sent along Motis Jones. The contract that I signed, it was the day after the pageant, the morning. That contract is right here. She did send that along. However, that just pretty much states that I will do the appearances for here in the state pageant, and, you know, nothing about Chicago, nothing about nationals. Like this has nothing to do with the 365. So I thought that was funny. That has nothing to do with it. And at the time too, going through this, I have it on my email still. I didn't delete them. All the people who are part of this pageant. One is like a pageant coach. She might have tried herself. I'm not quite sure. But it shows who tried to access the contract that I signed. However, when they made the Google Doc, they did it wrong and I locked mine. So therefore, the only people that can see my contract is who I share it with. Know that, ladies, because I seen multiple times. I can't even tell you how many times they tried to get into that contract. What were they trying to do? What were you trying to change it? Trying to change wording? I don't know, but you didn't get it done. Because at least on that end, I was smart enough to know how to work Google Documents. And so they didn't get anything changed. I printed off that for the judge, the all the contracts and stuff. So that, why she sent that, I don't know. That didn't really matter. And then this was really what I considered the golden ticket. And I'm sure the Illinois investigator did as well, because as far as a business goes, if you're not registered as a business, you don't have an LLC, you're not an organization, and I keep saying that because it matters, then what are you doing having people pay franchise fees to you? So you should be paying taxes just like McDonald's and Burger King, or anybody who, you know, you start a franchise underneath corporations, S Corp, C Corps, like this is where you should be. And I would think like United States Pageant, Miss America Pageant, they've worked really hard. They've done their fair share of paying taxes to the government. Why aren't you? And it really comes up to play because there was a mention, like she said, oh, I don't make any money. Baloney. You guys are making a hell of a lot of money. And I think the states know this. So anyway, here's her contract. And just so she knows that National Director sent it to the investigator and that I have it, this proves right here that the 365 is not mine. She signed to 2 state regional title participants, and it goes on to say right here that 40% of the deposit, $182 per delegate, and a total amount due of $455. So she has to pay $455 per girl that she sends to nationals. That's crazy. And I've looked into franchising. I don't know if it was Miss America, Miss United States, one of them. It's not how it works. And the franchising with them was like $1,500 per year. So I can understand you're a smaller pageant, but the way that I'm reading this compared to the one that I read for myself a few years ago, you're doing it wrong. And the fact that this is her fee, not mine. Nowhere is the $455, the $365, any of that in the contract that I signed, Western US, Nevada, American Elegance. And it does say in there that she has a franchise fee. And they do talk about PayPal and all these other costs, like how much they pay for the crown and sash. And I'm sorry, but it's a beautiful crown, beautiful sash. However, I don't know what companies they're buying them from, because you can get them in bulk for cheaper than what this national director is charging her state directors for. So anyway, this is actually, I'm not going to show it, of course, but this is how I got her address and things, because that was the only way to serve her. So she totally threw you under the bus as far as I'm concerned. National director threw the state director under the bus. This gave me everything to show that this fee was not mine, and Illinois knows about it. So you talk about, well, what about this national pageant? What about that contract? I never signed it. You pageant ladies, and just so people know, after I won, the whole thing in here says, don't sign until you get there. Don't sign until you get there. Okay, well, we don't sign it till we get there. So therefore, that 365 that you've held me to is not in here. And frankly, this whole contract, as far as nationals, it's obsolete to me. It doesn't even come into the court. It doesn't even come into play because I never signed it. There was no fee here. There's no fee there. It's a bunch of bullshit. Downright is what it is. It's bullshit. And you're hustling people for your money. And then because you have Nevada and then you have Illinois, and they have state pageants, and then nationals is in Illinois. There is Georgia. Oh yeah, lady, I'm coming for you too. This really ticked my ticker as far as being somebody who is very investigative. I like to do research, and now you got me on it. I'm going all the way. So come to find out, I got a hold of, yep, you got it. What do they call theirs? Oh, Consumer Protection Division right there. And the Georgia American Elegance pageant was under a business name of Pink Pageant Productions. And it was probably smart of her to start a business. Whoever told her or whatever to like cut off, because you can see here, and I won't show her name or anything either. And I will show the defendant thing because it's going to be in the, it gets printed in the paper or whatever, so that don't matter. It's public knowledge now. But Pink Pageant Productions did start a business in 2013 and then dissolved it in 2016. So it ran for 3 years. But even after 2016, this pageant still is showing up. The Georgia State American Elegance still shows up to the nationals every year. So even though you dissolved the business, you're still running the pageant. So I don't get why. And if you're paying franchise fees and all these fees for the girls, and you had a business, then you should have had an accountant and, you know, got everything correct and straight. And it could have been a problem maybe because Illinois didn't have anything, and your taxes wouldn't jive. I mean, I don't know. There could be actually a lot of things. But also I found out with Georgia dealing here that they have a really good protection for pageants as far as you, and it's in law. I've seen it. I think I have it printed out. They have a law that you have to have, I think it's like $10,000 in an account, and then you can have your pageant, and they have like really strict rules. However, in this case, after going through all this, I say they have really great laws. So the scholarships, the winnings, lawsuits, any of that were to happen, then you have like that backing, and I guess it kind of really protects everybody and the business. So there's that. You can see from, I'll put the Facebook links down below, that all these people are still, all these states, Nevada, Illinois, Georgia, they're still showing up to this national pageant. And I can only imagine how many women could possibly, you know, feel like they've been taken or hustled out of their money and not been able to do the national pageant. And didn't know what to do. So as far as this goes, you have to speak out. You have to go get your judgments in court, whatever you have to do, because for people to continue doing this, to steal money from people underneath the looks of a pageant, is beyond me. It is very crooked. It's sad. You know, I don't even know what, it's just really is beyond me. And so I did small claims court. I did my whole process, and I won. So, and she didn't show up. So if you thought by not showing up, I don't know, I just think that's ignorant. That if you thought that you are so not guilty that you would have showed up, you would have brought your evidence and proved that I owed you this money. And you didn't. Because I don't. There is nothing listed in any of this that says I owe that, and pretty much now that plus 80 bucks in court costs is what she owes me. So was it worth it? Yes. Now I have a process, and probably, I don't know, there's more money that you have to pay to the constable, I think, to have it taken from paychecks. And I do have her new job, because that was a thing on small claims, just so everybody knows. You do have to know where they're working. And so, you know, I guess I have that for now, because the sheriff's office got it for me on one of my constable sheets. So anyway, there's that. Do I have a pretty crown? Yes. Did I get to do what I wanted? And my whole platform was to promote my tumbling team, and with a crown and with titles, with pageant organizations, people do pay attention. People do listen. The crown gains attention. That's what it's for. And to really promote things and to get kids excited about a sport. So, you know, I didn't get to do that, and that's okay, because I don't need the crown. I'm going to do it anyway. It's just the whole purpose of, you know, this is why I entered it, to help you with your pageant, help you grow that, along with helping me grow things. It's funny how somebody would just totally destroy relationships like that, and to take people for money that, you know, they don't owe them. Oh, and that brings up the contract too. The whole $50 that she tried to say that I owed her for the plane ticket. Well, I don't know. I don't know if she obviously didn't read her contract well enough, because it completely states in there that at no time ever is she supposed to pay for plane tickets or hotels, any of it. How did she put it? It's in there. So anyway, the fact that she was trying to hold me accountable for the airplane, well, you were not supposed to be paying for that anyway. Read your contract, it's in there. And therefore, that's not even valid to hold me accountable. So I know the other lady, she did say, did pay her back the $50. Well, guess what? You did not need to pay her back that $50. You did not need to give that woman any more money if you did, because in her contract, she was not supposed to be paying for our plane tickets to begin with. And it does say that in the one Western American Elegance contract that I did sign, that you will pay your way, your tickets, whatever, that didn't exceed a voucher. Well, we never got a voucher. So I just figured I would pay my way, and I would pay for the hotel, which would have been all good. So, yeah, and there's her franchise fee, $75, and everything else. So it's pretty much just been one big mess. I feel good though, as far as my anxiety with it and everything. I'm good. I'm glad it's pretty much over for me. That's why I wanted to win this case. I wanted to have the judgment, and I got that. So now at least legally I can try to get my money back. And the fact that I can put it out there and say, yes, this happened. Don't be taken. And, you know, check everything out, especially these new pageants. They are coming up to be just everywhere, a whole bunch of them. And check into the business license, make sure they have everything, make sure they're legit. Because if people can't do that correctly, then what's the point? Especially when you're going for scholarships and things that are supposed to be going to colleges and who knows what. If that's not legal and legit, you're not getting that money for school. And that really is a big problem on a whole nother end, possibly. So, just make sure you check all of that out. And I think I pretty much hit every point as far as, you know, the money is mine. Nowhere in there do you ever pay the fee that the director is supposed to be paying. The $50, not going to pay that back. That wasn't supposed to be paid by her to begin with. And the fact that, you know, I have everything that I need as far as a lot of these things. Also told me to seek another lawyer for maybe some other things, but I don't really think that's worth it. Possibly, but I don't think so. I have a feeling that all the consumer and the taxes and the government and karma will catch up to these ladies. You know, you're taking people for money and you're really not being the pageant, classy woman who actually gives her time and donates not just money, but time and has a genuine heart. Oh, well, good luck to you. So that's it. If anybody has any questions, or if you feel like you have to go through this process with this pageant or any other pageant, like, reach out. I'm not a lawyer. I am not a legal advisor. I cannot give you anything like that. I can just give you what I had to go through, you know, the small claims thing and all that. And watch out for PayPal. You know, I'm sure people have dealt with PayPal in the same instance, maybe, as far as electronic money and getting it back. And I gotta say, they did a pretty good job as far as getting the $100 back. It was the $365, which was probably a bigger amount that they were like, oh wait, you know, let's deal with this one. And Pageant Planet, you know, you promote this pageant, it's on your website, it's on your Facebook. You rated this American Elegance pageant as like one of the best new pageants. How can that be? When did they provide you any legal tax reference information? Do any of the pageants now on your website, are they legit? Because now I'm questioning you, and I'm questioning all the pageants listed on your website, because this one you've touted and they're nothing but a nightmare as far as I'm concerned. They're legally, to all of the agencies, nobody can find them. And you know, that's another concern, is that, you know, you have Pageant Planet and Facebook and social media and all these things, and oh, this looks great, and trust me, it looked wonderful on the outside. You got me there, but on the inside it was nothing but darkness. It's been horrible. So any questions, send a message, DM, whatever. And now that it's all over, I'm just going to try to get that money now, since I got that legal judgment, and add the crown to my shelf with my other ones. And at least for this one, I am proud that I figured it out. I'm proud that I won the judgment, and I will forever look at this crown as like, you know, maybe you should have went on to law school. So with that, I started my law school account and got the LSAT book. So we'll see where it goes. You know, maybe it was a good thing to be like, get back on track. But at the end of the day, I'm smiling. I'm glad that the judge was nice, and he did go over things and ask questions. So, you know, if you're not there to defend yourself, I won. So you guys have any questions, and follow the links below. I want you to know about these pageants. I want you to know my story and how I feel they ripped me off. And you guys do your own research, make your own judgments, and be very careful if you do decide to do the American Elegance pageant. Bye, guys.